Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sonya's Prep. This week's video is going to be all about how I make my Hamantaschens for the Jewish holiday of Purim. To make this recipe, you'll need 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of oil, 4 eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. Now let's get started. Into a stand mixer. I'm going to be using my stand mixer because I have one. I'm going to be adding in all of the wet ingredients. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can definitely do this by hand. After all the wet ingredients are in the bowl, I turn on the mixer and let everything process just a bit. I then start in by adding in all of the dry ingredients a little bit at a time. And of course, my little munchkins are with me in the kitchen helping me along. Also, a huge shout out to Crazy Aprons for my gorgeous new apron over here with my logo. I am so happy with how it turned out. I took everything out of the mixing bowl and just transferred it over into a separate glass bowl that will be much more easier for me to work with. But I should have used like a baking spatula because everything was sticking to our hands. But the kids clearly had such a fun time doing this. This dough does not need to be chilled at all or anything like that. I just did because I was in the process of showering all of my babies. So I just made the dough, popped it in the fridge for a little bit, showered my boys, and then I took it out a little bit later, as you'll see. So I'm just covering it up with some plastic wrap. I'm popping it in the fridge, and I'll be back in a little bit and showing you just how I rolled everything out. Fast forward a few minutes, I'm removing the dough from the fridge and placing it between 2 parchment papers that I have heavily dusted with all-purpose flour. It is very important to dust it with a nice amount of flour because this dough will definitely stick to everything, and the more flour you have, the easier it is to work with. So my boys are here. They're going to be helping me roll out this dough and taking the shapes and shaping out all of the doughs as well. The reason that we make Hamantaschens on Purim is because it's to commemorate the time that we were saved during the Persian Empire when the Jews were being persecuted, and Haman had like either triangle ears, they said, or wore triangle shaped hats. So we have pastries in the same shape. So basically I rolled out my dough, I floured it just a bit again over the top, and we're going to be shaping everything. You can definitely shape them as big or as little as you would like. This is just what I prefer to use, but you can make them tiny, you can make them huge. I even have a brisket filled Hamantaschen on my channel that I made previously using puff pastry dough and brisket, and it was like really nice and large. I'll link that up above for you if you are interested in seeing it. I'll also link another Purim video that I did over the years if you guys are interested in checking that out as well. So here we are, we're removing all the excess dough around the circles, and I'm going to be filling these Hamantaschens with a bunch of variety of flavors, and here are just a few that I picked up today. There's chalva cream, raspberry, and the nougat cream. I also made a homemade cheesecake that I've been experimenting a recipe with. So I basically just fill each of the circles a little bit and I close them into a triangle, and this is how I do it. Here is the cheesecake filling that I was just mentioning. I have a block of cream cheese here, 1 egg, and some sugar that I mixed with a mixer, and I wanted to see if it would prevent itself from spilling, and it actually did a pretty good job. I was very impressed. So after everything is folded into triangles, I'm going to be placing it into a baking tray and baking it in the oven at 350 degrees for 11 minutes. And while that's baking, I'm making my second batch, and here it is. The new flavor here is the lemon cream or lemon custard cream that I found in my supermarket, and I wanted to make a Hamantaschen lemon meringue pie type of thing, and it came out really amazing. So here they are, all folded into triangles. Again, I'll be baking it in the oven at 350 degrees for 11 minutes, and that is the perfect amount of time for them to be nice and soft and moist and delicious. Now that they're all baked and have cooled off, you can either leave them just as they are, or you can have your imagination run wild and decorate them any which way that you would like. Here I have some caramel that I'm going to be taking the cheesecake filled ones and topping one side of it with caramel. And doesn't it just look amazing? So I'm going to be doing that for all of the cheesecake filling ones. On top of the caramel, I'll be placing in some confectioner sugar drizzle. This is just confectioner sugar mixed with a little bit of milk, and that'll be going on the top. I use the exact same drizzle to go over the raspberry filled Hamantaschens as well. Here I'm just taking some sliced almonds, crushing them up and toasting them up a bit as one of the decorative pieces in my next Hamantaschen decoration that I want to make. So as these are toasting, I'm going to be taking some Ferrero Rochers and taking them out of their packaging and slicing them in half. Now I'll be taking the Hamantaschens and dipping half of them into a chocolate ganache. This is basically chocolate chips mixed with a little bit of milk that I have melted. And after dipping each one into the chocolate ganache, I'm going to be taking those crushed almonds and sprinkling that on top. Aren't they so gorgeous like that? I'm so proud of all these little decorations. Definitely don't have to do this. I just was letting my creative side out today, and I really enjoyed this whole process. For the lemon meringue ones, I am obviously putting the meringues on the top of them, and then I'm going to be using a torch and torching that as well. For the actual meringue, I already have a separate video on how to make it, so if you're interested, I'll have it linked up above and in the description box below. As you can see, each of the chocolate Hamantaschens gets a little bit meringue on top as well as a Ferrero Rocher. These were the most gorgeous, I feel, and the most delicious. And for the lemon meringues, I just topped each one with a little slice of lemon on the top. Last but not least, this is the chalva filled Hamantaschens, and I'm just going to be drizzling in some chocolate ganache as well as a white drizzle, and then topping each one of them with some crushed chalva. Here are all of the beauties lined up. These caramel ones are also one of my top favorites. The lemon meringue was something new that I tried this year, and wow. The chava, I wasn't like, this is not my favorite just because of like my palate, but the Ferrero Rocher, oh gosh, decadent, delicious, and stunning. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new here. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you want me to record how we actually celebrate Purim in our house. If you're interested in that, leave me your comments, and I'll see you all next time. Happy Purim from my family to yours.